Over the last decade or so, amp sims have become an ever more popular part of the home studio environment. Low cost, easy setup, and tons of gear emulations have led many people to just abandon their amps, or at least to start saving a raw performance to possibly reamp later. Audified's AmpLion, a nearly decade-old amp and cab sim, just got a refresh and has been redubbed AmpLion 2 Rock Essentials. Today, I'm going to take the new AmpLion for a spin, see how it sounds, and if it would make a good addition to your amp sim arsenal. Let's get started. All right, let's start with a quick look at the interface. AmpLion is broken out into 4 separate tabs. You've got your pre-board, your amps, your cabs, and your post board. Once you know that, you know everything you need to know to create a complete end-to-end signal path moving left to right. It's an interesting design choice to break the pedals out into the pre and the post, but from a signal path perspective, it does make sense. So you've got a bunch of different pedals to choose from, which we'll go over here in a few minutes, as well as 3 different amp models, the Bartender Deluxe, the Marshall 59, and the Jukebox 30, which is like a Fender, a Marshall, and a Vox AC30. And then there's cabs to match all of those models, and a ton of post effects as well. Some of the same ones, but definitely there's emphasis on the effects that you would want to have ahead of your amp and the ones that you'd want to have in your effects chain, like your delays and reverbs and stuff like that. Everything is real easy to find. Nothing's hidden away. There's not a ton of menus to go through, and there's a pretty good complement of presets to play with. So in terms of the looks, it's an easy 5 out of 5. So let's go ahead and see how it sounds when we play it through our test track. All right, so I went ahead and got the new AmpLion set up on our test track. Let's go ahead and hear what the different amp models sound like. So I'll start off with just you can hear the original track. Okay, now with the Fender mod on, and the Marshall, and the Vox. Now what's real cool is you get to set these different channels here, so you could just do like the normal low, the normal high on that same Vox, and you can hear the difference between that top boost and just the regular. And the same thing, you know, with the Marshall. You've got the normal low, the bright high and low, the parallel. There's that bright high, right, as opposed to the bright low. What's another nifty feature is this panel button. Lets you go to the back of it. There's not really any, it's just a menu really is what it is. But you can see that you can change different models. So we'll go ahead. Or the brown button. Take it to Brown Town. Speaker impedance. Or the matched cab, or load box. All right. And any of the models that have a reverb or a vibrato, you can also switch those on and off here. And along the bottom here, there's a noise gate as well as a hiss gate for getting that right amount of noise or hiss, or taking it out rather. So overall, tons of fun to be had with the different amp models. And now let's check out some of the effects pedals. I went ahead and loaded some up here. I've got them all turned off for now, and I'm not going to play through every single one of them, but you can get an idea what they sound like. I'm going to start off with the Tube Screamer emulation here. And the EQ. And then the treble booster. Really really gets it rollicking at the top there, doesn't it? And then their wah emulation, which looks like it's a Vox wah. Kind of hard to paint that in, but it is functional. And then a few other effects that are on the post board here. We've got the chorus pedal, reverb, flanger, and a delay. All right, so one last menu to check out here then is the cab menu, which the mic options, and there are a ton of those. There are 9 different mics to choose from, such as an SM57, SM7B, the E906, there's the 421, the 414, 451. If you're somebody who's into mics, you'll recognize all of those different ones, including the U87, the Oldman instead of the Neumann, which I thought was cool. You got 4 different cab emulations to choose from. There's the Bartender 112, the 212 jukebox, as well as the 2 different Marshall models. But let's hear how the different mic models sound, and then how you can adjust the emulations. Very cool. I haven't even changed mic models yet. All I've done is just move them around, and it's completely changed the sound. Let's try a few of the different mic models here. That's great. Just a ton of flexibility in those cab models as well. Where do we land on the features? Overall, there's just a ton of stuff to play with here. It's an easy 5 out of 5 in terms of the features. There are 3 different amps to choose from, 4 different cabs, 9 different mics, 15 different effects, and all the playing you could possibly think of to do with those different combinations. So just tons of features to play with, and again, an easy 5 out of 5. Let's go ahead and plug the guitar in and see how usable it is. So as you can hear, there are a ton of great tones in there. They have presets for several Brian May tones, lots of classic guitar tones that you would expect to hear from these amps, and just a lot of fun to be had jamming out. That said, it's missing a couple of things that I consider essential to an amp and effects sim suite, things that were present in the previous version of AmpLion that is inexplicably missing. Namely, there isn't a tuner and there's no MIDI functionality. Sure, I can just use a clip-on tuner, but you get used to having the accuracy and convenience of a built-in tuner, so it's a glaring omission considering every other amp suite I can think of and every other one that I own has one built in. And the lack of MIDI, especially considering that there's a wah pedal emulation built into this, it's puzzling at best. I loved the tones, and I loved the effects options, but it just kind of felt limited without my MIDI foot controller. I have to knock a couple points off for usability. That brings us to value, and based on the missing features I just mentioned, plus the fact that there are similarly priced amp suites that have more gear for less money, I also have to knock a couple points off for value. I wouldn't recommend this plugin at full price, and I wouldn't recommend it as your first amp and effects sim suite either. Now, if you can catch it on sale and you already have an amp sim suite and you're looking to add more tones, this plugin does offer some mods and some cab miking options that give it some unique flavor, and I'm happy that I'm going to have it as an option. I hold out hope that there will be an AmpLion 2 Rock Extra or Rock Plus that comes with more gear and those missing features that I crave, because in its current state, at its current price point, I really can't give it a full recommendation. So in conclusion, I give AmpLion 2 Rock Essentials an apprehensive 4 stars in total, while still holding a candle for the 2.1 version and beyond. If you want to learn how to set up your own home studio, check the link in the description below for a free guide that I've put together just for you. So, thanks for watching, and have a great day in your home studio today.